Hello, everybody. Welcome to my kitchen, and welcome to everybody who's participating. I'm so excited. I'm Sandy Scheinbaum, and I'm with Elyse Wagner, who is my partner, our co-founder, and we are here doing something completely different. So we are in our kitchens. We're going to be showing some recipes, and we'll explain why we chose these recipes. And then we'll do our best to answer all the questions that you may have about Functional Medicine Coaching Academy and about our relationship with the Institute for Functional Medicine. So let's get started. And this is, again, the first time we've done this, so I hope the sound and the video are okay. So I chose 4 recipes and to show to you. And the reason I want to share these recipes is because they really are symbolic of our relationship with the Institute for Functional Medicine. So I was at the training module in GI. In functional medicine, we call it assimilation. So the Institute for Functional Medicine is our collaboration partner. And as part of that arrangement, I speak at their events about the value of health coaching. And at the last event, it was on GI, gastrointestinal health, and the practitioners who were there were being trained in how to address the health of the gut, and specifically then a more advanced gut disorders. And there was a demonstration from the stage. It was always one of my favorite parts of this module, where the leaders in functional medicine get up on the stage, and they're wearing their chef's hats, and they're cooking. And they were preparing some things and then they were then served at the breaks. And there was a handout that went along. And so Elyse and I chose 4 of those recipes to share with you tonight. You don't have to take notes. There's going to be a handout that will have all the recipes for you. And we will see if this appeals to you. These are some of my favorite recipes. I make them all the time.
Yeah, so we're actually bringing you back, I think, old school, and I just want to say a warm welcome to everyone and welcome to my kitchen as well. But this is really where a lot of this started, Sandy. You and we started in the kitchen talking about functional medicine and how we could bring coaching into this modality and positive psychology. Sandy's got a positive energy shirt on. So we love food. We love being together and family. Consider our functional medicine family real family. So we're bringing you into our kitchens, and we're excited to share some education, some information, and some yummy recipes.
Yes, I can't wait to show you this. So we're going to start off with recipe number 1, which is, some people pronounce it Kefir or Kefir, and I don't know. And so I'm going to ask Alexa. Alexa, how do you pronounce Kefir?
I pronounce that Kefir, but I'm always working on how I say things, and I might not have it right.
So we might not have it right, so we'll say Kefir. This is super, super easy. This recipe comes to us courtesy of Dr. Liz Lipski. She is a renowned nutritionist, and she is on the faculty of IFM, and we are so appreciative of her being on our faculty as well. So this is her recipe, and it's a coconut cashew kefir. And so it's super simple. So I'm going to show you what you do. You take half a cup of raw cashews, you dump them in. I'm going to put this down so you might be able to see better. You put it in the Vitamix or any other blender will work just as well. You had to take 2 cups of water, measured it out. You put the water in, and then you add a tablespoon of maple syrup, and so add that in. Now that is not going to sweeten. We're not looking at grams of sugar here. This is important for the fermented products. So kefir is a fermented product, which is why it is very healing. It has natural probiotics. So what you would do, I'm not going to demonstrate blending because it's going to be super noisy, but you would blend this up until the cashews have disintegrated, and then you pour in coconut milk. So this comes from Thrive Market, but you can get organic coconut milk, many different brands. So you would pour the coconut milk in, and then you now take that mixture, put it, it's about 4 cups, so a quart. You put it, I would usually use the measuring cup, and then this is the key. You get some grains or curds. I like to use the grains. This one is by Body Ecology. My friend Donna Gates started this company years ago. She was a real visionary, ahead of her time. So you would use this, and you're using a teaspoon. Or there's other companies. This one is from Amazon. It's a Kefir starter. So you would add that, and then you put it into a jar. I love to use these ball jars, and you just keep it on your counter for 12 to 24 hours. That depends on your climate. I'm here in Arizona, and so I made a batch last night, and I woke up and tasted a little bit, and it was perfect. And I put it in my smoothie this morning. It's really, really yummy. So it can be used in smoothies. You can drink it plain. You can, many different ways, and we're only limited by our creativity. So I hope that you will consider Kefir. I personally think this is so much easier than making yogurt. I like to make yogurt as well, but this is so simple. What I demonstrated, that's it. You're done. You might also add a pinch of salt, which I didn't mention. So number 2, second one, that's my staple, and that is bone broth. I am obsessed with bone broth. And there's many companies now that make bone broth. You can get it in cans, you can get it in cartons, you can get it in the frozen section, but nothing like homemade. So what are we talking about? We're talking about traditions that come from our mothers, our grandmothers, and this really resonates with me because I remember my mother in the kitchen making broth. We didn't call it bone broth yet. So I did some of this in advance, and it may be really hard for you to see, but this is my Instant Pot, and this is my secret to making this easy. So you could have it, if you don't have an Instant Pot, you can do it on a stovetop, and you need to cook it for about 24, even 36 hours. But with an Instant Pot, you cook it for 2 hours. I like to go a little longer. So what's in this? Well, it's chicken. So here's how I do it. I actually order chicken feet, but I didn't have that in where I was when I went to the store. They didn't have any chicken feet. So I got backs and necks, and I just got a whole bunch of it. I don't measure anything when I cook. I just throw it in. So put the chickens in the pot and added enough water to cover. So when I bought specifically for this demo, but what I love to do whenever we eat chicken, make sure it's organic or pasture raised. So I just have a plastic bag permanently in the freezer, and I collect bones. And then when I have enough bones, I'll make the chicken broth or the bone broth. You can also use meat. You can make a fish bone broth. The recipe that you're going to get will have those variations. So then what do? This is super simple. Again, you take onion, and the onion, you just chop it. You leave the peel. So you just dump the onion in. Then you take a couple carrots and a couple celery stalks. You dump that in. And then the next part is super easy to remember. Parsley, sage, rosemary, and thyme, like the song. So I use a lot of parsley. I had fresh parsley, so I'm going to dump that in. And then you have parsley, sage, rosemary, and thyme. You also can add a couple bay leaves, a little bit of pepper, and here's the key. It's creativity. So you can add anything. So when I was at the store, this fresh dill looked really yummy. I said, oh, I'll try that. So I'll dump that in. Maybe you want to add some garlic. Well, great. There's nothing that's going to say, don't add garlic. And the key for this is the apple cider vinegar. So you always add 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. You put it in your Instant Pot and you set it for 2 hours. And that's it. And then you may, I like to go a little longer. Sometimes I'll go, after 2 hours, I'll have it continue for maybe another 2 hours or another hour. And how do you know you've got the best bone broth? When it gels, when it actually is that thick gel consistency. Super healing. There's many different things you can do with it. You can drink it as broth. You can make other soups with this as a base. You can cook rice with it or cauliflower rice. So I freeze it. So I put it into freezer safe jars and always have some ready in the freezer. So I hope you enjoyed our demo. I've been told that you don't add salt while it's cooking. You salt to taste afterwards. So now I'm going to turn it over to Elyse because she's got some cool things to show in her kitchen. And of course, she, unlike me, has a little one at home. So she's cooking for her little girl as well.
Yeah, thanks, Sandy. And I've had some of the bone broth that you make. You seem to always have a pot going at.
Love it.
And it is delicious and it's so warming and nourishing. And we'll talk a little bit about, you know, I'm sure a lot of you who are on tonight joining us are curious about functional medicine and coaching and, you know, how can I use these recipes with my clients? And so we'll talk a little bit about that. So I'm going to show you 2 recipes tonight. One is a grain-free muffin. So a lot of people who come into the functional medicine world are going on different food plans or diets and things like that. A lot of the times you're going to hear gluten-free or grain-free. So this is an awesome recipe. I've made these before. They're absolutely delicious. And little ones love them too. You can have them for breakfast or little snacks and things like that, or even dessert. So I'm gonna turn my screen down so you can see all the ingredients here. So the first thing that you wanna do, these are cranberry almond flour muffins. So you wanna get a little cupcake pan, and I like to use these little parchment cupcake holders, and they're earth friendly as well. So you wanna line those up. And then over here, I've got my dry ingredients already measured out, mise en place. I learned that in nutrition school. You wanna get everything lined up and good to go. And it's also helpful to do that with a little one when you're kind of running around everywhere. So we've got about 3 cups of almond flour here. And this is super fine almond flour. You can actually make your own almond flour. If you have a high-speed blender, Vitamix, or even a food processor, you can throw some, I like to throw raw organic nuts in, and you can blend up your own flour. And you don't need to use almonds. If you are a fan of pecans or walnuts, you could use that as well. So we've got our almond flour, we've got some salt as well, and I've got that already in here. This, unlike what Sandy's recipes require, I think you do have to have some measuring to it. So I already measured this out. And then we also have our baking soda as well. And just want to be mindful, a lot of baking soda these days has cornstarch in it. Some of it has even gluten, I've come to find. So this one is a great brand. It's certified gluten-free, and it's just sodium bicarbonate. So we've got our cinnamon, and this recipe calls for either fresh or frozen cranberries. So luckily we're in the Thanksgiving holiday season, and these were available. They're organic cranberries. And you can also do fresh or frozen blueberries as well. And then we've got some honey, about a half cup of honey. And I like to get as local as possible and organic as possible raw honey. I think this one comes from a farm in Illinois, somewhere down south. We've got 3 eggs, and a variation of this would be some sort of flaxseed meal with water if you weren't doing eggs, and some vanilla as well. So there's a lot of different options that you can have you can still kind of have your quote unquote cake and eat it too. So what I'm going to show you is the mixed version of this. So you can see it's kind of lumpy, and that's okay. That's exactly how you want it. But what I did was I had put all of the wet ingredients in here first, and then put all my dry ingredients and just mixed it, put it into my tins over here, and then baked that at 325 for about 18 minutes. And they come out in these beautiful, colorful red pops of a little muffin. So they're delicious. So you're gonna get that recipe as well. And you can have those plain. You could put a little bit of grass-fed butter on it or ghee. That sounds really delicious and yummy. So come on over here. We're gonna do one more recipe. This is a smoothie recipe. So this one was brought to us by Dr. Michael Stone. And I already have, you can use a Vitamix or any kind of high-speed blender that you have. I have water in here right now. You could use Sandy's Kefir. Kefir, am I saying that right?
We'll have to ask Alexa again. Kefir. Or kefir is okay. You say potato, I say potato.
It's like tomato. So I have water in here. You can use kefir. You could use any sort of a yogurt or a coconut yogurt. You could even use any sort of nut milk that you want, or regular milk, whatever suits you. I love either just using water as my base, or I love hemp milk if anyone's ever had that. So this recipe is a smoothie on the go. It's going to pack in a lot of greens, which we love to do. This calls for about 6 leaves of chopped up kale. So I'm going to guesstimate and add a little bit more. And you can always use your creativity and bring in some different types of greens as well. Parsley or even cilantro. I've added cilantro to my smoothies. It is so detoxifying, so delicious and yummy.
Yeah, I use cilantro all the time. That's what I love that.
What kind of veggies do you like to add to your smoothie, Sandy?
Every day is different. You know what I found? This was the first time I use microgreens a lot, and today I saw celery microgreens. So I did that. I grow my own sprouts. I'll add some sprouts. I like parsley. I like cilantro, kale, dandelions. That's my go-to for detoxifiers. I always have some dandelions.
Big detoxifier, yeah. So I'm also adding a banana. The recipe calls for a banana. And if you don't want to do a banana, you can always do extra avocado. So this is going to be your fat and protein. It's going to keep you nice and full. This recipe calls for a full avocado. Now, if you're questioning and wondering, like, Elyse, I buy a ton of avocados and they always go bad. One of, actually, our admissions team, our director of admissions said to me, Elyse, you know, you can freeze avocados and chop it up and put it all in little baggies. So I wanted to share that tip with you. You can, you know, at the beginning of the week or whatnot, get a plastic bag, set your ingredients in there. You would unpeel the banana. You would take out everything in the avocado and put it all in there and freeze it. And then you could just take it out and dump it in your blender.
Yeah, I freeze everything, and I started freezing guacamole. I had a party and I had all this guacamole left over, and I didn't want to throw it out. So what do? I froze it, and it was great when I defrosted it. I freeze parsley and cilantro if I'm leaving and I'm traveling and I don't want to get rid of my veggies in my house. I'll just put them in the freezer, and then when I come back, I've got them all ready to throw in a smoothie.
That's a really good tip. I'll have to try that because I love making guacamole, and I actually end up eating it because I don't want it to go bad because it never tastes that good. So the recipe calls for one more ingredient, which is lemon. And you know, one of the things, so I just squeezed the lemon, a whole lemon in here. And one of the things sometimes I like to do is just cut off a little bit and include the rind, and it just gives this like pop of brightness in your smoothie. It's delicious.
I do that too. I love lemon rinds.
Oh, so good. You can put orange or whatnot. And you know, a lot of the times I like to use my creativity. I will open up my fridge and just say like, I wonder what I can use, what greens. I'm always asking like, well, how can I add some green to this? So, and I try to always keep it as whole real foods as possible, but you can add other stuff in there. So you would just turn this on. I'm not going to turn it on just for noise sake, but you would turn it on high, keep it to the consistency that you want. This recipe does also suggest if you want it cold. I like to have my smoothies pretty warm or room temperature, but some people like them really cold, so you can add ice, or if you have frozen bananas or the frozen avocados, you can add that and it will make it nice and cool. So the one last thing I want to share with you is once it's done, and I like to do my smoothies on Sundays. That's like my meal prep day for the week. So I can be really present with Shay, my daughter, when she gets home from school, and we're not finagling around with cooking and all that. But I like to make big batches of smoothies, and then like Sandy, I've got ball jars all around my house, and I will just load them up. And what's kind of helpful is what you can do is you can put these in the fridge, which is great, or you can fill them probably maybe 3/4 of the way, maybe a little bit more full, and you can put them in the freezer. You can freeze them. And what I like to do is take one out the night before and let it, thaw in the fridge. So I'll have a nice, delicious and still full of nutrition smoothie. And the kids love it. Actually, Shay had this for dinner tonight, and she really loved it. So it's a really simple, easy way to get quick nutrition, and that's also healing for the GI tract and just really the entire body.
Yeah, all these recipes are healing for the GI tract, and I hope you've enjoyed our cooking portion. And this is something that we like to tell our students who are going out into the world, that they can share their knowledge with the world by doing things like this, because it is just a wonderful way to teach people, to inspire. They want to see something really easy and doable. So I hope you got some ideas, and you may have heard the word creativity used a lot. That comes from the world of character strength. So at FMCA, we teach coaching through character strengths. Creativity is a character strength, and Elyse and I know that's one of our top strengths, and so we use it a lot. And so you will be learning all about how to use your particular character strength. So again, we will have a handout with the recipes, and I think a question may have come in. So Elyse,
yeah, let's take a look at that. Yeah, so this is a great question. So the question was, why are we talking about recipes? Why are these recipes being discussed? This webinar was supposed to be talking about the program. So I'm glad that you're bringing us back.
Thank you.
We'll weave it in.
Yeah, so this is a segue. The reason we chose to present it this way is because we wanted to give you something that may be a little surprising. And it also is because we want to reinforce that this comes from the Institute for Functional Medicine's curriculum. They teach these recipes at the GI module for their doctors who they are training, and we have access to their materials and their faculty. So the people who were up on stage, Liz Lipski, Dr. Patrick Hanaway, they were demonstrating how to make these kinds of recipes, others as well. So it's not that we are going to teach you these cooking skills, but it's an example that their content is our content. And so we wanted to share that, and also that the place we start in the curriculum is gut health. And coaches are not going to prescribe something for somebody to have a healthy gut, or not going to diagnose them with a particular GI disorder, but they can do things like this. In fact, when Elyse and I were at a local level before we started FMCA, we would go into people's kitchens and we would cook with them sometimes, or we would run groups, and Elyse would bring in her blender and we would show them how to make things. I did a lot of demos of how to eat greens, for example. So it is a key part of many people's coaching practices. So with that said, let's go and move on to your questions, which I know you've been dying to have answered.
Okay, so the first one is from Linda. She asks, she already does health coaching and has extensive training in functional medicine. She's curious, what would I really need this course? Is this really going to add anything to what I already am doing? I'm not a licensed practitioner.
Yes. So often we have people who come from all walks of life, many different levels of experience. We have people who are very well versed in coaching, in functional medicine, or both. And there's always more to learn. And so if you begin with a beginner's mind and look at, well, we are presenting it in a particular way that may really help to elevate your practice, what you're currently doing, or you may now feel inspired to go on. But one of the biggest advantages that we have through our partnership with IFM is there are doctors who can't wait to hire. We are hearing from them, I need a coach, help me find a coach. And they want to hire FMCA coaches. So it becomes a seal of approval. They know that when you've gone through our training, that you have been trained by the same leaders in functional medicine that they have.
And Lydia asks, which kind of dovetails off of this answer, after I graduate from FMCA, how would I get started with teaming up with doctors and clients?
Yeah, well, I'm a born matchmaker, and nothing I like better than to connect people. So you come on my office hours, for example, and you might say, oh, I'm in a particular area. We'll help you find a doctor. We'll reach out for you. We'll tell you how to reach out. Because we at every IFM event, I speak, and we have an exhibit that is at that event where people come up to us and they can get matched. We have a director of alumni development who works with these doctors to match them with our graduates to post job descriptions. And so we're committed to that. If that's what you want to do, then we will help you make those connections.
And so Jenny asks, do MDs do this course? Medical doctors?
Yes, we do have doctors. They do it for a number of reasons. We had one, she's now a graduate, and she wanted to wear two hats. She wanted to keep her medical practice, but she wanted to then start a coaching practice and work on the side. And that is possible. We also have medical doctors who have been in the profession for a long time, and they want something new. So maybe they're leaving medicine and they want to exclusively coach. So others are just taking it because they don't want to be a coach at all, but they're taking it for their own information. They want to learn the curriculum, learn these strategies and how we're teaching it.
And Elia, I think that's how you pronounce your name. She is asking, what financing do you have right now in payment plans? So I will take that one. So we have a couple of different payment plans and payment options for those who are interested in that. My biggest encouragement is for you to email admissions@functionalmedicinecoaching.org. We're going to be able to better support you and give you those options. So just to give you an idea, we do have two separate payment plans. There's a 6 and a 9-month payment plan, and then there's a third option only for the US. That is through our partner Paramount, and they help to finance the tuition. So there are definite options, and our admissions team, everyone on that team has gone through the program, and they are able to better assist and support you with that information and actually send it to you so you'll have it in black and white and be able to see that a little bit better. The next question is from Paul, and I believe I met Paul just a couple weeks ago in Ireland. And his question is, I've practiced as a health coach in the UK for the last 10 years, where the NHS and public perception is biased towards conventional sick care. How would an IFM course better equip me to engage as a coach among people who'd rather get sick than stay well?
Well, I think the tide is turning, both in the United States and abroad, and it's consumer driven. People want to get well and they need education. So one of the things that you can do is you can use your voice and you can start to let people know about this powerful modality called functional medicine. And when it's paired with coaching, it is really powerful, because now you can start with where a person is at, and to inspire people, you ask the right questions, like what do they want their health for? And so we teach you to engage in the kinds of discussions, conversations that will lead somebody, and that means whether you're talking to a potential client or somebody who might be a potential referral source for you. And they could be one and the same, because you're going to help a client and then they're going to refer their friends and family and colleagues. So it's going to grow. This movement is growing. And so it's growing rapidly. And so I think that it is a matter of continuing to educate, being perseverant, and we will support you with that. So we will give you the right talking points to use to expand your mission and be successful.
So Annie, and I think that this is probably relevant to quite a few of you who are joining tonight, or you're going to listen to the replay, who don't have any sort of medical background or medical training. So the question is, can I do this course? And the answer is yes, and I'll let Sandy chat about that in a second. And she's also wanted to share, she's 60 years old, and is she going to be able to understand and absorb all that's required of me? And the last part is, I'm passionate about health as I've turned my own health around through diet and lifestyle changes, and I want to share that with others. And I just have to say, you are not alone. And I would say the number one thing that ties every single person in this community together is their passion. A lot of people have come to Functional Medicine Coaching Academy, or just functional medicine in general, because they've had their own life or health transformation, and they want to share that with others. And I'll let Sandy share. We have a ton of students, different age ranges.
So many. You absolutely do not need a formal healthcare background whatsoever. I want to be 100% clear on that. In fact, they've looked at, like, what are the qualities to be a good health coach? It has nothing to do with how much you know about healthcare. Sometimes it even gets in your way, because then you want to just tell people what to do. You know so much at the get-go, you want to be the expert. And coaching is not about that. It's about helping people change when change is hard, inspiring them, being their cheerleader. And it sounds like you have that passion. That's what you need. The qualifications are to be a good listener, to really be able to sit with somebody and help them get from where they are now to where they want to be. As far as age, no, I started FMCA with Elyse. I was 65 at the time. Now it's 5 years later, so you can tell how old I am. We've had people much older than we have people in their 80s who are taking this course. So age is not a factor. The leaders, Dr. Jeffrey Bland is in his 70s, Dr. David Jones, they are vibrant and always learning. So you love learning, and therefore you will master these concepts. This is not old school going back where you're going to have a thick textbook and you're going to have exams where you have to memorize all these facts about physiology. You're adult learners, and we respect that. And it's really being passionate about connecting with somebody, listening, and being very mindful. And then you've got it.
Yeah. And I'll just add, my mom is in the course. She's 65. Hope you don't hate me for saying that, but she is just loving it and enjoying it, and it's something she's super passionate about. So
yeah, we have retired school teachers. We have many people from other walks of life now in retirement, and this is inspiring them. They're passionate, and they're pursuing this.
Yeah. So the next question, and this again I think probably pertains to quite a number of people. Ryan asks, can a health coach title be helpful on top of another title, such as a functional nutrition therapy practitioner or certified nutritionist, registered dietitian?
Yes, because those other titles are they can be, and they are very, very important. You have a lot of knowledge, a lot of schooling behind you, and wear those titles proudly. Health coaching is another layer. And what you will learn is the very, very important behavior change strategies, appreciative inquiry, and how you really can inspire somebody to make those changes. And so a lot of it comes from psychology. So I was a psychologist for about 35 years in my former life. And so I was around way before there was such a thing as coaching, but I trained in humanistic psychotherapy. That's where coaching came from. So unlike a degree in nutrition that doesn't have that piece, you will get that whole component of behavior change and studying psychology of eating, which is the part that I teach in the course. And again, that comes from the whole coaching process, comes from humanistic psychotherapy.
And I would just like to add to that. So some of you may know, but as my background is, I am a nutritionist and a therapist. And My undergrad degree was in nutritional sciences, and I was feeling very stuck. And really, my education was wonderful, and I was missing a huge piece. And some of you might feel this way, this gap that you might be missing. And I, realized that there's a lot of information in education, and I can tell people what to do, but it was that how, and how do you get people to change? How do you get people to feel and be motivated internally to want to make those changes for themselves? And I was hungry for more information, lifelong learner. And I went on and got this double master's in nutrition and clinical health psychology to really bridge that gap and to find that sweet spot. So I could not only just help them on the food and nutrition side, but really help them understand, what are their barriers, what's stopping them. And that's where a lot of this change can come in. I think that's the beauty of the functional medicine and positive psychology coming together, and functional nutrition. So it's a beautiful thing. And I want to go on to this next question, and this is from Safa, and this is a really great question, and one that I don't think we're going to be able to answer right here, right now, but what the question is, how do I know that this is for me? And this is a great question, and this is a very individualized question, and so what I want to encourage you to do, if any of you have this question, like, how do I know, is this the right program for me? Please give us a call. You can call us. You can actually email us as well. You can set up a time to talk with one of our admissions team members, and even with me. I would love to speak with you. Our phone number is 855-270-3622, and all this information is on the website. But it will give you a chance to talk with someone and to really just explore, is this for you? Is this the right time for you? Is this the right commitment, for you? And so I want to encourage you to do that, and whoever else would like to speak with someone personally, that's what we're here for. Another question that came in, Sandy, what kind of jobs am I able to get after I go through the program?
Fortunately, this field is exploding, and there's a whole range of jobs. So there are more and more hospital systems, more clinics that are appreciating the value of coaching. And they come to us to want to hire coaches. We have a full-time director of alumni development who will post job descriptions. So you can work in a traditional setting. Many of our graduates work with functional medicine doctors, and there are two ways. One, they can work in their practice, and that can be live in the office, or it can be virtual. And then they can also accept referrals. So in a way that, let's say a doctor is just getting started in functional medicine, and he may look in his community or her community, who is out there, who is our graduate, and then they will start referring. So that is a way that you can connect, and we have a lot of different ways that we have meetups when there's an IFM event. So there's a lot of regional meetups where people connect. And then there's another way. So it's how you work. You can work one-on-one, but increasingly we're seeing groups, and there is an increasing movement towards what we call group medical visits, shared medical appointments, where a group of people come together. And what happens in that situation is the coach facilitates the group. This is a growing model. So we expect to see that grow more. Now, what is really going to fuel the growth? And that is the use of what we call CPT codes. Those are the current procedural terminologies and they are right now, they're really in this first stage, which we call category 3. So by January of 2020, those will be available. This is very significant because it's putting coaching on the map. This is developed by the American Medical Association. So they're taking notice. They're saying health coaching is a promising service. And so therefore they've developed these codes. And in order to use them, you would need to be a board certified health and wellness coach. And we're proud that we, as a school, we are approved by the National Board of Health and Wellness Coaching, which means that when you graduate, you can sit for their exam if you choose to, and then you can become national board certified. And that would allow you to use these CPT codes, as well as increasingly we find that people who are hiring want to look for somebody who is board certified.
So another question that came in from Reshma. This is a great question. There's a couple kind of all in one, and I think I know where you're going, but if not, please let us know, and you can email us directly. But the questions are kind of around insurance coverage needs. How do you know what to charge? I think it's more around like the business of coaching.
Mm-hmm. So you are one of the first groups to hear this. We are so pleased to announce that starting with the next class, we are going to have a brand new business building track. This will be optional, but it will not be an additional expense. It will come with our core course, and it'll start the last few months of the course, and it's going to be answering those exact questions. We are bringing on some of the biggest names in building business, and we're going to have legal experts, we're going to have marketing and business experts who are going to be teaching you the very specifics of where to start, as well as how to grow your business, how to get involved with digital marketing, using social media, every phase that we know we get asked. And so we answer those questions. It's personalized, and so it depends, for example, what you charge depends on what area of the country or the world you are, how you want to practice. Is it an individual session? Is it a group? So there's many variables, but we will walk you through that. One of the things that Elyse and I love to do is connect with you personally. So we have office hours. You can come on, it's over Zoom like this, and you have a question about this, like what you just asked, we will answer it. In fact, that individual who asked the question, how do I know if this program is right for you? Well, maybe you join us and you find, hey, you know, this isn't what I wanted. Well, you can talk to us. There's a lot of support to help you, because it is a personalized program, just as functional medicine is a personalized approach. Now, I'm going back to those recipes. You personalize it. And as a coach, you would help that individual personalize that recipe. We personalize, we can help you if something's not working in the program.
Yeah. I absolutely adore and love my office hours. It's time where I can connect with the students and even the alums. And it's a chance for coaches alike to connect with each other and to support each other. I would say probably one of the biggest differentiators with our program, other than IFM, is the community. This community is so full of love and support, and everyone is willing to pitch in and just help out. It's a beautiful thing, and there is a global, when you join us, there is a global network of support. It's pretty cool.
We're very hands-on, which is why we're in our kitchen showing you these recipes. In fact, if you were in the area, we'd invite you over.
Yeah, absolutely. Share a meal. So, all right. So one of the questions, and this probably pertains to a lot of other people as well, and I know I read through the questions. I'm going to add another one in here, but some people are already a health coach through IIN and the Institute for Integrative Nutrition. They're curious what advantage would I have to becoming a health coach through FMCA? That's a great question.
Yeah, so when we started FMCA, we had a small beta class, and a lot, I'd say almost half, had been IIN graduates. So when we worked with the Institute for Functional Medicine, we wanted to create a curriculum that was specific to functional medicine, taught by IFM faculty. And then, because my background was in positive psychology, mind-body medicine, psychology of eating, we blended those parts into the curriculum as well. So how it differs is it's looking at our partnership with IFM, and we offer that really deep dive into functional medicine methodology paired with coaching from a positive psychology vantage point. So that's the differentiator. And also then, as a result of that partnership, we have the connections with the doctors who are being trained in increasing numbers in functional medicine. And this area is really moving fast in terms of gaining recognition, because the recent study that appeared in the Journal of the American Medical Association looked at functional medicine, people who were treated with functional medicine. This was at the Cleveland Clinic versus those who were treated in a traditional practice. And guess what? People with functional medicine treatments did better. And at the Cleveland Clinic, they have coaches who we have trained.
Yeah, and I would just add on to that, if you are still curious, please reach out to us, email us, admissions@functionalmedicinecoaching.org. You can speak with one of our admissions team members. In fact, a couple of our team members have gone through that program and then gone through FMCA. They can give you a really, just transparent answer and what you're looking for, and also just help you decide what's going to be the best choice for you. And we also have alumni as well that you can speak with. You just have to ask. We're happy to connect you, so you can just get really clear, get some clarity on your decisions, because it's a big one. So another question, I love this question, Maru. Could you describe a regular day working with clients or patients as a functional medicine coach?
Oh, yes. So it is just limited by your creativity, your passion, what you want to do. So it can be just from home. You can be online. You can have clients who you schedule at your convenience on your computer. It can be one-on-one, or you can lead groups. I'm really passionate about the power of groups. So you can have a group can be a virtual group. Or perhaps now, let's say you can connect with a doctor in the area. More and more people are choosing functional medicine, leaving their conventional medical practices. And at IFM, they are now saying, when you start this journey, don't do it alone. Get a team. You need a coach from the get-go. And so you may have connected them. Let's imagine now that you know some doctors in your community, and they have referred to you, or perhaps they have hired you to come in one day a week, a couple days a week, or even full-time if it's a large practice. And what are you doing there? Well, you might be seeing clients one-to-one. How is that happening? Well, there's a lot of clinics where the coach sees that individual before they even see the doctor. Let's say the doctor has a busy practice. There's a waiting time. Well, the coach can step in right away. They can learn to use a tool like the Living Matrix. That's another IFM collaboration. They can learn that software so that some of the tools from functional medicine, which we call the timeline, where you listen to somebody's story, the coach is in that first session. So that can be a part of your day. Or maybe you're going into several practices and you're leading groups. And that can be in a doctor's waiting room, for example. So that can be part. Or maybe that doctor is sending you people that you are seeing online. But there's another model that I want to share, and we find this happens frequently. Many people come and they have careers, and they're just not ready, or they're not in a position to leave, and they want to stay with that. And that can be a career in marketing, in finance, or in healthcare. A nurse, for example, who doesn't want to leave her hospital position, and they start to coach on the side, and that's where they're passionate. So they're keeping their current position, but they're starting to take on 1, 2 clients, and it can be anywhere. And so one of the things I love to do is I would have a group of people. They would come into my kitchen, and we would just sit around, and I would show them what's in my pantry. I would do demos like we did tonight. And it's just a great way to get people to be interacting with one another, and you as the coach. But there's another area as well. Let's say you have somebody, you could meet them at the grocery store, give them a tour of Whole Foods. Elyse and I did that. You can also go into their homes, as we had said earlier. So again, there's a lot of different ways. There's another way, and that is you can be educating. Let's say you are inspired. You can go out and you can go to a community event. You can give a talk. You can pair up with a yoga studio, for example, and share information. So a lot of different options.
Yeah, I feel like if we had one of our graduates on here, they might say, I don't know if there's a typical regular day. There's probably a little variation, and there's so many amazing opportunities. It's unlimited what you could be doing and how you could be working with their clients. Sometimes Sandy and I, when we were in practice together, we would go walking with our clients and be in nature. So really just using our imagination and bringing in some fun, and again, creativity. So this kind of goes into a really good question and important, is around scope of practice for health coaches. Where is the line of responsibility and accountability for a health coach?
So this is one of my favorite subjects, and often people see it in a restrictive way, like, oh, a coach does not diagnose, they do not treat, they do not come up with a nutrition plan, they don't tell somebody what to do. And a lot of times we get pushback. We'll say, well, that's not fair. Then why should I be a coach? I'm going to go be a nutritionist so I can tell people what to do. But I'd like you to really consider that. And I would like to put out the question, how's that been working? Has that worked well for people? Are they losing weight? Are they becoming healthier? Just look at the average person to say, okay, are they listening to the experts? They're probably the experts themselves. They probably know what they should be eating. They probably know how they should be exercising. But there's a gap because it's hard to change. They're not doing it. And so what is the scope of practice of a coach? It is to help people become inspired. It is to support, to provide knowledge, yes, but really the key is to be that listener, to help them see where they can start on that journey. And maybe they start, very excited. The doctor tells them, what they should do. The nutritionist gives them a plan of what to eat. They're fired up, but they're not successful yet. And that road to success means perseverance, a lot of grit, a lot of hard work, and often people have a setback, they don't stick with it. What a coach does is there with them on that journey. And so you'll be there with them on that journey. That's their scope of practice. It's really the most powerful part of coaching. And so as Elyse talked earlier about the nutrition world, that's one part, that's being the expert. But really success comes when the coach is added to the team.
Yeah, I just want to add, it's just such an important question, and we get this asked a ton on our admissions calls, and that's great. And I'm so glad that this question has come up. So for example, today on my call, someone was asking, well, how would this really look, and what does that really mean that I can't give nutrition suggestions or advice? And just like Sandy said, if someone was coming to you and maybe they were working with a nutritionist or a doctor and they were given a plan, you could do one of a couple things. You could certainly sit with them and educate them on that. Let's just say they were given a gluten-free lifestyle or grain-free lifestyle. You could certainly bring in one of these recipes, and you could even do it virtually, just like Sandy and I are with you right now, and show them how to cook. And what you're doing is you're closing that gap, but you're also building up their confidence level as well, and helping them to really see and learn that they can do this. They can own their health. And that's really the secret sauce of a coach who's really not coming in as an expert. They're kind of coming in to take a back seat and really empowering that client to be the expert in their own life and to really take ownership and responsibility for their health.
Absolutely. I love that. And so just as Elyse and I demonstrated these recipes, we didn't say, this is what you should be eating. We didn't say that I want you to eat this bone broth every day because it is good for you. It'll heal your gut. That would be acting like a nutritionist telling them what to do. But we shared the information, and we said, for example, Dr. Lipski developed this recipe, or the research shows that Kefir has probiotics. So we gave the information and we credited the expert. And at FMCA, we teach you step by step how to stay in your scope of practice, by also referring to experts, very similar to somebody who is writing a book and they have a disclaimer that says this is not meant to diagnose or treat any medical condition. So we're very, very conscious of giving you the tools and the resources that you will need to stay safe as you practice as a health coach by providing those templates for legally staying safe.
Yeah, so I'm going to move on to the next question from Karen, and she is asking about the training and if it covers genetic reports along with recommended protocols. She's specifically referencing 23andMe and Biome, and also wondering about lab work. Do we cover that?
So we do not, we are for continuing education. We do not mention specific products or services. And so 23andMe would be one, but we have in specific short courses that are addressing some of the more specialty topics. So lab work is something that is for the expert. So a doctor orders labs, a nutritionist may interpret labs, or a doctor, but as a coach, you would be educating about those labs. So we would be helping you do that in a way that you can as a health coach. Within the functional medicine content, there is definitely material about labs and about genomics.
The next question comes from Pamela. She is a nurse already. She is also board certified as well. And so she's wondering if we have additional programs that already enhance the certifications she has.
So we have a number of short courses. We have more that are going to be in development. And I would say to keep referring back to the website, because we have a lot of new content coming out as far as specialty tracks that are in development.
So, and I'm just being mindful of the time. We've got about 4 more minutes, so we're going to get through as many questions as we can. And then we'll let you know what you can do and where you can go if your question was not answered tonight, because we will answer it, we want to answer it, and we want to be able to serve you. So a question from Chase is this profession regulated?
So it is not a licensed profession, but the National Board for Health and Wellness Coaching, since they are in existence, they have a series of standards, codes of conduct and guidelines. So yes, but it is not regulated by the states. They regulate other professions. So it does vary state by state. Some states are stricter in terms of the scope of practice.
And this question goes back to the coding that's going to be in effect coming in January. Amy asks, is there an update on insurance covering coaches, including Medicare and Medicaid?
So there are increasingly ways that coaches are being reimbursed, and we are fortunate to work with a medical doctor who is an expert in this area. And often it has to do with group medical visits, which are being reimbursed by Medicare. And so that area is something that is still evolving, but increasingly we're seeing. So the 2 most promising areas: group medical visits and remote patient monitoring devices, where the coach can be involved in monitoring those remote devices that, like, might be on your watch, for example, and the coach is monitoring that.
So speaking of remote, Tennille is wondering, she's actually from New Zealand and Canada. She wants to know, can coaching be done remotely?
Absolutely, just as we're here all remote, very much so. And the research shows that it can be just as intimate and effective if it is remote versus live.
And then Angelique is asking, she wants to hear more about access and support offered after the conclusion of the program. There's a lot.
Yes, we have an alumni membership program where you get you get mentoring on building your business, you get mentoring on being an effective coach with your clients. We have Ask the Expert series that are regularly a part of it. You have access to office hours that I hold and Elyse does as well. And so we are very, very committed to our community, and everybody says that's one of the things that has drawn them to us and kept them with us because of the power of our community. And so we have a lot of different ways of giving you support.
So we're getting to that time. I'm going to answer one more question and then give you all some information on how we can stay in contact and let you know what to expect next. But the last question is really more about logistics. How long is the program and how many hours should one typically invest in the program over the course? So the course is a year long. It's a 12-month program. We have 2 start dates a year. So we're actually in our enrollment phase for our March 2020 class. It starts on March 1st. And the next class after that will be September 1st, 2020. And typically there's around 40 hours worth of content within each module. And so what we typically recommend, and everyone learns a little bit differently and has a different lifestyle, but it's around 10 to 12 hours a week. So we have an app. You can download that on your phone and listen via audio if that's how you learn best. There's webinars as well that you can watch, and there are quite a number of transcripts as well. So if you like to read, you can do that. And there is a live training portion to the program as well. So 3 times a month, you get together in a small cohort group with a course facilitator, someone who's been through the program. And that's really where the rubber meets the road, and you start combining and infusing the content that you've learned as well as the skills that you're learning and refining. That's where you get feedback, you do some role playing. So there's a lot of experiential in the program. One of the things we are very dedicated to is making sure that our coaches come out competent, and compassionate coaches so they can go out into the world and start coaching and really follow their passion. So with that, we're going to be closing out the night. I want to just say thank you so very much for taking the time out of your day or evening to be with us and to learn with us. And if your question was not answered, or if it was answered, but you still have more questions, that is totally okay. You can reach out to us anytime. You can send us an email, and this is all going to be sent to you in just a little bit, but you can send us an email at admissions@functionalmedicinecoaching.org. You can call us. You can even call us right now. No one will answer, but you can leave a voicemail and someone will get back to you tomorrow, and that number is 855-270-3622, and all of this is on our website. You can even go on our website and schedule a call to speak with one of our admissions team members, and you can even speak with me. So lots of ways to connect.
I feel just so blessed to be the CEO of Functional Medicine Coaching Academy. I really adore our students, our graduates, and feel that we have a community that has grown thanks to our partnership with the Institute for Functional Medicine. They are committed to helping everybody who studies with us thrive. This is one big family. Everyone in IFM says that. They are excited about growing coaching, as excited as they are about growing the medical community to come to functional medicine. So I want to thank you. I'm honored that you took the time to be with us tonight from wherever you're at. And this was a new format for us. So let us know if you liked it, if you hated it, if you want to see more, and we will honor that. So again, thank you and good night, everybody.
Thanks so much, everyone. Good evening.